Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon and welcome to another Webinar Wednesday presented by Cal State Bakersfield Small Business Development Center. This is Webinar Wednesday number 350. Got a great topic today talking about all the great things happening within our College of Business and Public Administration, a college I hold near and dear to my heart. So let's get rolling with on today, June the 25th, our last of this fiscal year, our last webinar. So we're going to be talking about CSUB and the small business and entrepreneurship programs. We'll have Dr. Deborah Cours on talking about that, the dean of the school. We're going to look a little bit about in our economic corner, which is a regular focus, a regular corner that we dive into about every webinar. Our economic corner is going to look at customer confidence and its role in the economy and what many of our small businesses are impacted. And just so we're not confused a little bit by customer confidence and what we jump into with small business confidence or small business optimism, we'll look at what's happening with both. We'll look at some news and information out there that's in resources. Hopefully, the resources help you thrive, and the news and information help you with your day-to-day operation and management of your business. We'll also jump into our capital quarter focus. And these times are uncertain in a lot of different areas, and it's that way true in capital. But one thing we are certain of was we did participate in a Federal Reserve pool, and we're going to go over on this particular poll these number of slides that impact our region compared to the entire United States. We'll have coming back soon is going to be a life well lived. But today we're going to use the poll to get us by because we've had a passing, I think a major passing in the business world. We will have answers to your questions live after the presentation, so please jump in and use your Q&A box and ask any particular questions, and Dr. Cours will answer them at the conclusion of today's event. And also, resources in today's chat box. So the resources we talk about will be immediately available, and you can reference those in the chat. Our webinar producer, Maureen Busher-Dang, will be adding those as we go. So we do have a poll today, too. So let's jump into the poll and jump in to see what is actually the poll questions today. And we do have two poll questions, and what they're related to is the topic that we might do a life well lived, and that was the passing of Fred Smith, the founder of FedEx. So, two questions related to Fred Smith. One of them is, he floated his idea for an overnight service delivery in an economics class paper in 1965 while attending Yale University. What grade did he get on that paper? It's between A and D, because you know he didn't flunk it. So A through D, and the second part is Mr. Smith received funding for Federal Express, which it was known at the time, was it the U.S. Small Business Administration? Was it a group of veterans he served with, and he is a veteran he served with? Was it from that very same Yale economics professor, or was it his local SBDC? So our poll question today is a two-parter. It's celebrating the life of Fred Smith, who recently passed away, the founder of FedEx, who after his service in the military went on the GI Bill, went to Yale University, and then afterwards founded FedEx. What is FedEx today? And so in his economics class, and you know you economics professors out there, he received a letter grade for the idea for his overnight service. Was it A through D? Which was it? Also, Mr. Smith received funding he received a variety of funding sources, but which one of these is most true? Is it from the U.S. Small Business Administration, a group of veterans that he served with, that Yale economics professor, or his local SBDC? Okay, we do have a good percentage of your reporting right now. Looking for one more respondent to kick us over that. Thank you very much. And so we're going to jump in and close the poll right now and share the results with you. And 55% of you thought that Mr. Smith received a C on that paper, and you are correct. You are correct. A C from that, maybe grammar errors, because what an idea, huh? Oh, we had 27% of you think that he would have got an A, and that would have been probably the common logic and the common thinking. And then shared B and D came in tied for third. And the second phase of the question was he received funding from, yes, the U.S. Small Business Administration. One of their flagship small business loans actually went to form and start a major corporation, FedEx. 45% of you were correct. And tied for second was that Yale professor who I guess was stuck with that C, did not invest, apparently, with Mr. Smith, to my knowledge. And then also his local SBDC. And those that know us, we will tell you how to get funding and all the great programs out there, but we cannot fund your small business. Okay, well, thank you all for participating in today's poll. We will close that particular poll cluster, do not stop the share on this thing, and move along. A segment that we've been talking about doing with the SBDC, and we decided to start it this week. It's called Good Venture, Bad Venture, where we kind of look at something that is a good idea, potentially a good venture, at least proven by investors that invest in it, and then look at bad venture. And, just because I'm in a really optimistic mood today, we're just going to go with the good venture side of things. So there's a new venture out that's been receiving a lot of public funding called Pano AI. And Pano AI is a startup that uses AI to detect wildfires before they can, until they can grow into these uncontrollable firestorms. Based in Northern California, they've applied this technology in California and Australia, where they install cameras at high vantage points to provide a panoramic view of areas with a history of wildfires. So they cover nearly 30 million acres. They recently received a Series B funding. Series B funding is this really unique funding that can go up to $50 million. It's really great funding for those of you that are wanting to launch a big venture and have had some success in doing so. Obviously, Pano AI has had that success. They launched in 2020. And at this point, they have raised already $89 million and employ about 110 people. The thing that's unique about this, not only is it good public policy and good for the general public with the wildfire situation that it is in California, but what's unique about this also is that venture capitals, and you see the ventures that participated, a major corporation would be in Salesforce technology, and also Liberty Mutual, an insurance company that both have venture funds and do venture investing. But usually they are for-profit based to consumer products, which they invest in. And this was really onboarded to customers that were government agencies. So it's a public-private entity that they go after. And it's just that the potential is there with utilities, with government agencies, fire resources all around, large private-owned landowners that are susceptible to wildfire, that they were able to raise a substantial amount of money. So, hey, good venture. Glad to see that coming. We had talked a little bit about in our intro as far as customer confidence. So we're going to talk not only a little bit about customer confidence, and here the key points of this, and this is one of the things that I read. It's from Visa International. The reason it interests me is because it really gives information. I think Visa is really interested, since they're basically a credit card company. They're interested in consumer spending, and consumer spending drives our economy. So they're very interested in what comes out of consumer spending. So consumer confidence is one of the big factors that drives consumer spending. Now, this has been kind of on a roller coaster, kind of with the tariff situation and a few other things, consumer confidence, a lot of the uncertainty driving consumers in the market today to spend. I like to call, I've used kind of the phrase to some people that I think a lot of consumers think we're in like a pre-recession, that we're before we get to the recessionary point, or they're anticipating a recession based on a lot of the information that they are hearing. So in May, consumer confidence rebounded. That might have been after the trade situation improved, jumped a huge jump of 17.4 points. It'll be interesting to see what happens in May, or excuse me, June, which very well could be reduced a little bit again. But Visa went on to discuss about how social media helps companies connect with consumers when confidence lags. Which, being a finance guy, like many of you know, talking about marketing and social media is kind of Maureen's game. So it is really something that small businesses really should look into and look into continuing their social media, but also look strongly and see what's happening with consumer confidence. So the other thing that we kind of look at quite a bit is the National Federation of Independent Businesses. They have their small business optimum forecast. And the reason that this is important to us is that when small businesses are optimistic, they're spending more and they're growing. They're wanting to grow. And you see that there was a period of time from maybe the pandemic, even coming into before the election, where it was kind of stagnant and they were, not extremely pleased. You'll see this big, huge dip in 2009 in the chart that really kind of shows the recession and the Great Recession that we were in at that time. But then we rebounded out in 17, and we've been seeing we saw the good spurt after the election, and then the optimism by small businesses owners was tempered. And in the most recent recorded reading, the number index is 98.8. In December, it reached 105, but that is an upward trend over what has happened in April. So optimism important in small business. If they feel optimistic that their businesses are going to do well, then they're willing to invest more into growing their particular business, into expanding potential locations, and into increasing their workforce. So, a couple economic things until we get our economists back, a couple things just to go over very quickly. That brings us to our capital quarter. And with our capital quarter, each webinar episode, we want to talk a little bit about what's going on funding wise as far as financing. And we were fortunate enough with the Federal Reserve Bank to participate in their annual credit survey. And so this was the 2024 survey of where you see they ask a variety of different questions. We're going to just talk about some of the financing and credit products that they observed in our particular region of our CSU Bakersfield SBDC compared to the national average. And the sample size was rather significant on the national level, over 6,000 respondents, of which of those 109 came from our particular area. And so we were able to get our own separate subset, which is shown there in near almost SBDC blue or CSUB blue, but a little off shade, a little more turquoise or teal. But you'll see that the respondents could select multiple options and multiple financing products between those six that are listed below. And they are, we see some of the key findings in this. We see that our area was more likely to go with credit cards. And, as far as credit cards, not always the worst option. From our standpoint, the merchant cash option, which is the fourth selection at 7%, still higher than the average, is a much more onerous and, from a cash flow perspective, and a more costly form of capital. Some of the others that we saw, a lot of them were comparable as far as the loans and the lines of credit. Leases were slightly lower as well, but really the use of credit cards can be a better option than a lot of those others that we look at. As far as some of the outcomes for those sources, in our area, they were more likely not to have actually participated in that funding round. Um, and uh, the last slide that we had was pretty much the top reasons for not participating or not applying. And we were a little bit lower on those businesses that had sufficient funding and a lot higher in discouraged, which is discouraging from our SBDC, our Small Business Development Center perspective, because we think that there's a lot of opportunities and a lot of processes that people think oftentimes when they go to a bank to try to get a loan and they're turned down, they don't realize all the other options that are available to them. And oftentimes an SBDC advisor can really work with you on getting funding that maybe you weren't aware of or you thought was too difficult to obtain. So that is the capital quarter aspect of it. We do like to promote the free human resource hotline. It's for employers. Number of Valley and Central Coast and Sierra foothills and Eastern Sierra regions. You've kind of broken out by county, but there is actually free service provided by the California Employers Association. And we think it's a great way to start if you have an HR issue or question. So you use the California Employers Association free hotline. These are brought to you by with generous sponsorships from a lot of the workforce development boards and groups in those counties that are listed. SBDC tools to help your business succeed. We have a variety of different tools that we actually can work with you and your small business. And a variety of different tools, and we go over these fairly frequently. Anything from our YouTube channel, which now has nearing 500 subscribers. And if you really want to see this webinar but really don't want to be here live at noon on Wednesday, subscribe and get it dropped into your email box. You want to contact us to sign up for confidential, no cost, no obligation consultation with experts. Sign up at our website. Our website, CSUB, And that brings us to today's special guest. And our special guest is Dr. Deborah Cours, who joined CSUB in July of 2023. A big 2-year anniversary coming up next week, it sounds like, for the Dean of the College of Business and Public Administration. And she is also the Executive Director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation. She also serves as the principal investigator, a key role in the SBDC grant process. So big thank you from the Small Business Development Center for all you do to help us here. She has served 25 plus years as professor of marketing and administration at CSU Northridge, was the director of community engagement, interim dean and director of graduate and evening programs, founding director of their Wells Fargo Center for Small Business and Entrepreneurship, past president of the Small Business Institute, a rather interesting program that was quite popular through SBA back in the day. Long career director, transitioned into her career actually came to the SBDC program back in 2004 when she was a lead center interim director during the transition to the 6 lead centers we have now in California. Small business consulting into the core experience for the business curriculum, a big 2 thumbs up there. Dr. Cours, thank you for joining us, and please take it away.
Thanks so much, Kelly. I'm here today. I'm so happy to be here. As Kelly so generously shared my background, I've had a long history, almost 30 years now, working in higher education, but also with small business. That wasn't something I studied, but I came to learn and love, and I've learned as much from my colleagues at SBA, in the SBDC, in small business funding, and most of all from our small business owners and entrepreneurs that I've partnered with over the years. I've learned so much, and we've made our teaching better, our programs better through those connections. So I'm here today not so much to talk about the academic programs. You know us as a College of Business and Public Administration here, accredited by AACSB and NASPA, so very high quality programs, but I'm really here to talk about other ways that might not at first come to mind on how CSUB is committed to support our region's economic development, and particularly to support our small business owners and entrepreneurs in being successful here in our region. So if you've heard President Vernon Harper speak or read his pieces in the Californian or other places, He has a new agenda for the university to be Kern County's university. And we add on, and don't forget, the Antelope Valley, which for this purpose that's in Los Angeles County, but borders into Eastern Kern County. And so we always want to remember that we have a satellite campus on the campus of Antelope Valley College, where we offer programs including undergraduate degrees in business and our MBA program. But again, I'm not here so much to talk about our academic programs today, but to talk about our mission to serve the regional community and be an engine in partnership for economic development. So President Harper and our team here at CSUB are committed to make sure we're connected to the community. We're a state-funded, taxpayer-funded, partially supported, I should say, taxpayer-supported. Not all of our expenses are covered by that state revenue, but a significant percentage is. And so we have an obligation to serve our community and to make life better, to be a cornerstone of the community. We have a goal to be the college of choice, the four-year university. We are the only four-year public university within a 100-mile diameter. I think somebody actually measured, and it's 98 miles to Cal State Northridge, but let's not play on the margins there. It's about 100 miles circumference till you get to the next public four-year university. And we have many collaborations with our high schools, with our community colleges from BC, Syracuse, Taft, Porterville, and others, obviously Antelope Valley, and others, to be pathways to four-year degrees, but also just a continued education. So I'm going to come back to the academics at the end, but really we also have a lot of collaborations, not just in my college, but across campus that serve the region and particularly business owners like those of you on this webinar today. So let's get into that. I'm going to really highlight today the Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, what we call the CEI, that was generously funded by some really generous individuals to help support new startups and contribute to regional economic growth. So lots of people see, and we have a lot of programs around Kern County that do this. And ours focuses on offering a free accelerator, but also supporting our students who come to us and wanting to pursue entrepreneurship, either themselves to become entrepreneurs or to support the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We are also to be an innovation hub to support those individuals and firms that are trying to get a foothold in this region or to engage in tech transfer. So supporting faculty in engineering, for example, supporting other people in the community who come up with innovations and are trying to figure out how to commercialize that. Those are things that are the focus of the CEI. What's probably of most interest is our accelerator. And so this is free. We offer an accelerator that is a 10-week entrepreneurship boot camp program. It's open to anyone. Most of the participants are not affiliated with CSUB, and it's free for everyone. We work with CSUB faculty, industry experts. We offer guidance, mentorship, feedback on building out that business pitch, really what the goal is to develop a pitch to take to funders. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So we offer this at least twice a year in fall and in the spring. And it's a 10-week boot camp. And we typically have 6 to 8 startups or small businesses looking for growth included. We tend to focus on industries related to innovation. That might be in the aerospace, technology, computer science, other tech transfer areas. But we really consider any business. You'll work with one of our dedicated faculty and staff members to be vetted, to find out if you're ready for the boot camp, if you have the basic ideas down. And we have a range of organizations. It might be an idea trying to figure out how to commercialize, and it might be an actual small business with revenue that is trying to figure out how to grow or expand or get ready to sell off all of those are possible targets. I want to note that we have a dedicated facilitator, and this program was really grown from the ground up by Dr. Jeremy Woods, one of our professors. He teaches entrepreneurship and strategy here at CSUB, and he has been the managing director of the center for the past 2 or 3 years, since before I got here. He gets this really nice thing that we have in higher education of a sabbatical for the fall semester to focus on his own research, to get current in his teaching topics and so forth. And so during the fall semester and starting this, they're handing off this summer, Dr. Milad Pira, who is one of our newest faculty members, will be serving as the acting director. We have a staff member, Peter Burley, who helps support all of this program, but we have a dedicated facilitator to offer the curriculum and to provide mentorship to the participants. Almost every week in that 10-week boot camp, a guest speaker is involved, and our own Kelly Bearden is a very frequent guest speaker delivering training. And Kelly, if you have anything you want to say about this, be happy to invite you to. Like I said, we coach the businesses or the ventures through how to create a good pitch that's ready for funders. The ideal is that it's something that's going to be palatable and ready to take to venture capital, but it could also be something that we take to banks or other lenders for debt capital, but in the sense of helping you prepare a business plan. The fun part is we culminate all of this boot camp with a pitch competition that's open to the public. And in fact, tonight we have the presentations by some of the participants of our spring 2025 cohort. So if anybody wants to come over to campus today, it's going to start at 5:30 p.m. here in the Business Development Complex. You can email me for information. If you want to come just see what it's about and learn, you're welcome. There'll be some refreshments, and we'll hear from a few of these ventures that participated in our spring cohort. The top performers at these term pitches then get invited back to compete again in a Founders Club. And both of these pitch competitions have significant multiple thousands of dollars of prizes for the competitors. So there's real cash that goes to these winners with no strings tied. So free to participate, and then you get cash investment. We also help connect you to sources for capital. You're connected already to the SBDC, but we make that a formal opportunity to be seen by a consultant and work with our SBDC and take advantage of the resources they have. We also may give referrals or connections to other incubators or accelerators, depending on the venture, if there's continued growth and opportunity. For example, we have a partnership with Kern Inclusive's program, so that the right venture in our program can then move on into their program with an accelerated pace. We also offer continued mentorship. So Dr. Woods, Peter, Dr. Pierre will continue to follow up with our participants to see how they're doing, to track their performance, and encourage them to take it to the next step. So that is most of the information. We are currently recruiting for our fall cohort, which will probably start in mid to late September. So if you're interested, please do reach out. There's an application form available, or connect us, or email me, or call me. All my information I'll put in the chat, or we'll have in the chat, as well as are in the slides here that we share after the webinar. Any questions while we're on? Or Kelly, did you want to say anything about the accelerator before I move on?
Well, I think the accelerator is an excellent opportunity, I think it's something that's great for new businesses, but I think that we need to see more even existing businesses that come to it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great when you have an idea and when you start off from the ideation stage and
Right.
kind of grow a particular product. But you could be at a point where you've already started your business and you're looking to either pivot that particular business or transition, or to maybe even grow that particular business. I think the accelerator is a great use for those types of businesses that should also maybe look at that as well.
You're right. I think, in fact, the previous cohort, the fall 24 cohort, I think the top some of the top placing ventures in that cohort were in fact businesses that already were seeing revenue, were had some, but were trying to grow, or as you said, pivot. It's an excellent opportunity if you're facing some kind of challenge or changing landscape. It's a great opportunity to invest in deep connections to experts, feedback, research resources to help you explore how to pivot or what's next, how to grow. How many small business owners, I mean, this is the mantra you all know in SBDC. If you make it through that first year, that's the first risky thing, is there. But then the next thing is managing growth, right? And so often as small business owners, we don't always have the expertise to uh, to when to do the formal accounting or projections that we need to test models about growth. What happens to cash flow, for example? That's often a crisis in business growth. And so we have those tools we can teach you those tools. We have people can help you with those tools. So I think that you're absolutely right that having a mix, and it's really beneficial to those people who are just at the spark, at the inspiration, at the startup stage, to also hear from people who have been in business and have learned a lot and learned together. I think that's really helpful.
I think you really touched on a great point there, Dr. Coors. I think that, people come to the class expecting to learn from your facilitator, but oftentimes who they learn from are the other participants. They learn
Yeah.
so much from people that have already witnessed a problem, gone through a particular issue. Maybe it's something that they're dealing with now in their business. And it's really, I think, it's not an expectation when people sign up that they're going to learn so much from the other participants.
I think that's a really good point. And I think that's the value of doing something like this that is not a one-on-one with a mentor, but it's a small cohort of committed individuals. And I see in the chat that there's a clarification about, is it just for Kern County? Here at CSUB, we can absolutely serve from outside, but it is an in-person weekly boot camp or accelerator meetings for 10 weeks. They're usually scheduled in the early evening, 1 day a week, for 10 weeks. Again, free to participate, but we do ask for that full 10-week commitment because, as Kelly just noted, it's not just learning from the instructors and having that mentorship, it's learning from each other. And so it really is that cohort model of 6 to 8 ventures learning together and from each other. So yes, you can absolutely be from a neighboring county, but you would need to be willing to come into campus for most of the sessions. I know they have done some on Zoom, but we really do prefer to have participants who can come in person. Oh, yeah, if you're exploring business outside of Kern, absolutely can be anywhere. So it doesn't have to be a business that's going to exist here in Kern County, not for us at CSUB. So we just want to help economic development to people who, are in this region, whether that's a business outside or, uh, you know, uh, residents here or forming or people coming in from outside to start businesses here. We'll support all of that. We learn from all of that. And that makes me think also, Kelly, we want to always remind folks that the SBDC has great resources to help people with importing and exporting. When we think outside region, we might think about neighboring counties, but we also like to think about the broader international market that exists. Okay, I would like to talk just about some other resources. I know not everybody can commit to participating or are ready or in the right place, maybe don't need or not yet for the boot camp, but there are so many other ways to connect with the university, with Cal State. An obvious one are internships. And that is to give a student an opportunity to work in a meaningful role, maybe to do some work you don't have someone else to do right now, for a semester. So usually they'll work about 10 hours, 10 to 20 hours a week during the semester or summer. Obviously, we prefer these to be paid. Most of our college students, particularly here at CSUB, do need to work to help support themselves and often their families while they're attending college. So we like these to be paid. However, we do have some funding available, particularly for small businesses and startups, where you don't yet have the resources to support a paid internship to qualify for a stipend that we provide so that a student of need can participate in that meaningful internship, because we think it's so key to our student experience and here in our region. So if you're interested about that, please drop me an email. We have a lot of project-based learning. And this was something I did as a professor. I was very active in the small business community, and somebody would need a marketing plan, but they were a very small business. They didn't have the resources to do it themselves or to pay a marketing firm to do that. And we would have a marketing class take on that project. And you will be amazed at the quality of those students' work, because it's supervised by faculty, and the students are often driven more than anyone else to be creative, and they know all the social media, they know all kinds of tricks. They're current. In the College of Engineering, in the College of Natural Sciences, Mathematics, and Engineering, what we refer to as NSME for short, the programs have a required senior design project. It's for the seniors. And they're always looking for real world projects. Sometimes the students invent their own ideas, but they really prefer to be working on a solution for a real world problem. And that is a way to partner too. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me, and we will put you in contact with those faculty and the dean of that college. So, I mentioned marketing, and I think I already told you I was a marketing professor, so that's what comes to mind. But we have set up information systems for small companies, costing models, HR planning and growth models, real estate evaluation, business plans, feasibility studies, all of those kind of things work in our classrooms, with students and working under the supervision and with faculty. Our faculty also have quite a bit of expertise and are often willing to just engage in a conversation and can provide custom research, can provide consulting, paid or pro bono, depending on the situation and the faculty preference. But most of our faculty have real world experience and continue to stay very current in business practice. So we try to hire faculty who are not just those trained in theory, but actually trained in learning and doing and real world application and staying current. In fact, our accreditation requires that we stay current. We have a number of centers. We engage in research. We can collaborate on research projects, and as I mentioned, consulting. We welcome any business that wants to come tell students about your business, whether that's to maybe you're going to hire or you want to let us know about cutting new developments in the field, or just to get to know businesses. We can offer all sorts of opportunities to come in to speak to a class, to speak to a student club of interest, or to hold a separate information session about your organization. Tell us about what you know in your industry. Students are eager to learn and have those opportunities to connect with people already in the business community. We do have an entrepreneurship club, and they love to hear from people who've lived that startup life, who are entrepreneurs. And I think we always say that you learn more from failing than succeeding. I'm not sure that's exactly true, but I think some failure on the way is really common. I think most entrepreneurs who are now successful, had some failures along the way, or at least some setbacks along the way. That's pretty common. And it's really helpful for students to hear about that because so many of them don't know that and are afraid, and understanding the resilience it takes to be a successful entrepreneur. And if you have a setback or even a business failure, that doesn't mean you're done. That just means you've had a chance to learn a lot. So we love to invite those opportunities for you to talk with our students, as well as with faculty. And of course, I'd be a bad dean if I didn't pitch to please hire runners. If you have positions available, please help us to get our students here. We want our students to graduate and stay local and help this economy continue to grow. I mentioned centers. Let me go through a few of them. You already know we've talked about the CEI. We also have the Center for Economic Education and Research. And you may have heard some of our famous economists speak on this webinar and other webinar sessions, or at the Economic Summit, the Kern Economic Summit, or other places. They do both their own research projects that they promote about the economy and interesting economic research. They also can do custom research. Some of our economics faculty, Dr. Gearhart, Dr. Micheka, also produce the Kern Economic Journal, which comes out 3 or 4 times a year, and I think quarterly, and has some really great articles, insight on the Kern economy and really interesting issues related to that. I want to note because often they engage students in their research, and we have some really fascinating research projects recently. At the end of the spring semester, I had the opportunity to go see some of the research products that our students have worked on, and one was really interesting, doing analysis about the impact of having oil wells near, drilling near, or agriculture. It was agriculture near housing, and if that affected the price, sort of the distance from agriculture fields next to housing. And they found no significant impact, which is counterintuitive. That's good to know, right? I'm looking to buy a new house in the area, and if I'm near a field, I want to know that's going to hold its value. That's not going to be an issue for me. We also have a business research and education center, more generally in the college, that promotes the faculty research and other opportunities to learn about business through speakers and supported research. Dr. Erin Hegde is the director of the CSUB Grimm Family Center for Agricultural Business that offers during the academic year monthly speaker events with panelists and speakers. They're great events, as well as some other programming, and also help support internships and education for our agricultural business bachelor's degree program. Last year, we launched the Gandhi Fellowship in Social Entrepreneurship, generously funded by the Patels. And this is led by Dr. Sumita Sharma, and she has run with this idea to launch last spring in April, the first ever, and hopefully it was inaugural, become annual, social entrepreneurship pitch competition for our students. So now we're fleshing out not just resources for traditional entrepreneurship, but also for social entrepreneurship. And that really resonates with today's students who want to not just do well, but do good. We also offer free income tax assistance through the VITA program during tax season. That's available for low-income taxpayers in the region. It's just the simple, at this point, just simple personal income tax, not business tax. But some of those students and the faculty involved may have resources to assist more broadly. But I want to give kudos to them because they had a record-breaking year this year for tax year 2024, with more students involved, more volunteer hours, and more taxpayers served, and more return refunds and earned income credit returned to our community. Those All of those I have mentioned are here in the College of Business and Public Administration. The Grimm Center is at the university level, but closely tied to our agricultural business program. The California Energy Resource Center is housed in that NSME, the Natural Sciences, Mathematics and Engineering College, but we have faculty engaged with them as well. And this is an exciting center. I think they'll be announcing a new director soon if that announcement hasn't come out yet. And it will be closely tied to the building of our new Energy Innovation Center. So CSUB is really committed to taking what is already a lot of expertise in the regional engine that is energy, whether that's traditional or new renewable energies, to look at what resources we need to grow those industries here, train students for that, do research to support those industries and careers. Just another example, if you're hiring or you want to get word out about your opportunities, here are some of the things we do. I've already mentioned this, and we just love to have firms on campus or nonprofits as well. Many of our students want to go into the nonprofit space. We have social media. This will all be available later. And I just want to say thanks for giving the time. We really want to be your partner. One thing I didn't talk a lot about, because I said I'm not here to so much to talk about academics, but I want to say something, and that is, you know that we have traditional four-year degree programs. We have partnerships for transfer students coming from our community colleges. We also have master's degrees. In my college here, we have an MBA, an MP, Master of Public Administration, Master of Business Administration, and an MS in Healthcare Administration. But we also have opportunities I don't know everybody thinks about. Maybe you haven't yet finished your degree and you want to finish your degree. That's often hard. Maybe some credits are old. Maybe the major you were pursuing doesn't feel right. Well, we have a bachelor's in public administration that is now fully online. And so that's a degree program you might think about. It's very flexible. It's very interesting and applied to all kinds of organizations. It's geared towards nonprofit and public administration, but the theories that they teach are really relevant to everything, the content that they teach. It's a very flexible program. You can also, through our Open University offered through our Extended Education Office, enroll in individual courses. You often have to meet the prerequisites or have the permission of the instructor, but there might be an interesting course you'd like to take, and you can come do that here as well as attend many speaker events and other opportunities that are open to the public. So with that, I thank you for all the time, Kelly. If you have other questions you'd like to ask, or if there's questions in the chat, I'd be happy to answer.
Wow, great information. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Hey, and that's a great picture too. Can you find the SBDC director? Is the question of the day. So the question of the day is, if you have a question, go to the Q&A box and pop in a particular question that you might have. We do have one that just came in, so let me read that to you, Debbie. It's with the online public administration program, is that open for international students outside the country?
I believe we are seeking approval for that. So I think by next year, we will be able to have that. Now, international students, as many people know, as many international students know, online programs don't qualify you for the student visa to come in to be here present. So we do have programs currently approved, including this program, so students that are international students do need to take a majority of their coursework in person. That's by US rules for student visas, the F1 student visas. However, we are getting approval to be approved for distance education for out-of-country students who want to study from abroad.
Okay, there's time to ask questions. In the meantime, let's just jump to the chat and make sure we didn't miss a question in there. I see some nice greetings. And also, there's a link for our National Federation of Independent Business survey, our YouTube channel. Again, subscribe and you get the webinar coming into your inbox every week. Sign up for no-cost consulting, the CEI Accelerator program, information on it. Also, Let's see what else is here. I would like to definitely sign up for the boot camp if someone could reach out to me. And thank you, Don, for leaving your email. And I'm sure Dean Cours will give that to the appropriate individual and hope to see you in the class. That's about it. That's about it for the chat. Debbie, anything last thing to add before we depart? Webinar Wednesday number 350.
I'm going to add here in the chat the link to the CEI where you can learn more about the pitch, the accelerator and information. Dawn, I've taken your email and we will get back to you. Probably not today because they're finishing up, getting ready for that pitch tonight. I do also have, I have answered in the Q&A. Justina asked about, or I'm sorry, and Nellie asked about the well, someone asked about the time for the pitch competition tonight that's open to the public. So that I think I answered that in the Q&A. Yes, I did. I'll also put that information over here in the chat right now. That's today on campus, over in the what's called the Business Development Center, which is where the business college is located, in room 262B. So it's upstairs in building B at 5:30 p.m. And you're invited to just come as a member of the public. So look forward to that.
That's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. You hear a lot of interesting ideas, great ideas at times. And but really well thought out and well presented. So looking forward to that tonight.
And that should be over, I think, by 7 p.m. today. We have a smaller group of participants today just because it's summer and we won't have our students aren't in session, so we won't have as many students present today as we often do. So it'll be a shorter event. But you want to come over and see what it's like, please come on over. And all the key constituents, Dr. Woods, Dr. Pira, and Peter will be there. I'll be there. Kelly may even show up. So
I might very well may be there. Okay, well, that's a wrap on webinar Wednesday number 350. Kind of a momentous occasion. Any final comments, Dr. Cours?
I just want to thank you. And I also want to applaud all of those who are here today with us live and who watch the webinar later. That continuous learning, that seeking out extra resources and continuing to grow, that's what makes you successful. It'll continue to make you successful and helps build our region. Thank you so much.
Great stuff. I might add before I depart to this webinar is, you might think you learn, a lot from failure, but it's sure a lot more fun to succeed.
That's an excellent point. That's an excellent point.
And with that, let's celebrate our 350th webinar. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, Dr. Cours. We'll see you soon. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Next week is the Independence Day week, so we will not be here for 351, but we'll be back on July the 9th. Everybody have a great time. Safe 4th of July, and we will see you then. Bye-bye, everyone.